started this recording because I just came back in here where I ran into the family group before, and there's some new broken stuff. It's probably about a week and a half old, but there's a bunch. Check this out. Look right here. They've just destroyed this tree. They broke 3 or 4 of the main branches. This thing would have been way up here, and they broke it all down. Then you look over here, there's another big one broke over here. I'll show you what's going on here. Okay, so we get up in here a little. You can see these were all green. This year's brand new growth. And they broke all of this down here. And there's if we look here, there's some pieces of it laying on the ground. What we have in here is kind of a blind area behind the front, see, where you can hide and enter, and you can see more of how these are busted down. I've already searched all this for fur or hair. I haven't found any. When we go right inside here, we're going to find one of these first occupied cells. Here's one. Okay. See, this has all been cleared out in here. This is one of the spots on the side of the river where they'll hang out. And they might be in here right now, I don't know. But we're gonna go back out, but we're gonna go out the other entrance here. I'll show you, see, like this, where they'll break these down, all the places they go in here. Here's another one, and I couldn't do that, no way. That's a green branch, and it's just snapped clean. It's amazing. Like I said, it's a couple weeks old, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to go down. Here we go again, see? Again, same age. A couple of weeks. See, and here we go again, look. Same thing. A couple of weeks. Same. We have some really big flat printed areas you can see. That's a Bigfoot. See? They go along the edge here, staying out of the river bottoms, marking these trees. And if we look up, see, here's another one. Clean break. Okay. We've got those big feet print all the way along here, where they just trampled this down. So here you can see some really big breaks. Here, look at that. This is where I went in before, and they were all in here. So we're gonna try it again and see what happens. Actually some really large printing on the ground here. It's hard to tell what it is. Maybe fists. But they don't look, it doesn't look to me like they're here now. I don't see any super new travel. There's been a little travel through here. See, we've had a cow come through here now. So I doubt they're in here. Well, I was going to go in and try to leave some apples. See, they've been through here because there's Russian olive stuff sitting here, but there's no Russian olive. There's no Russian olive anywhere in this part. Anyway, it's all out near the front. This is all salt cedar and a couple other things. So that was deposited here. I can see where a cow has walked through though. So generally nothing's walking around through their areas. Cows are kind of stupid that way. But we'll just go ahead and go through here and see what happens. Now, I'm not going to take their tunnels. Right now, I'm just going to go straight through. Because this is how I came through last time. I came as far as this tree, see? And I got Mom just through there. But my gut feeling doesn't tell me they're in here. I haven't had any vocals yet. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and probably just cut this until something else shows up, or a good track or something. Or if I run into them. But I don't think they're in here right now. Then I'm going to be planting some apples. Just to kind of say, hey, sorry for running you out of here the other day. Mama was actually right back in that little clearing. Oops, right back in that little clearing in there. And I had come through thick stuff that direction. Stopped at the base of that tree. And she slid off back in that way. But you can see usually when you get in a place where they're hanging out, you get a lot of this broken, beat down stuff. These trees have been pulled down. A lot of broken stuff on the ground. We got some old big padded prints and stuff in here. Those are probably from her. And here, I don't know if you can see it, there's a smaller one. Like I say, those are a few weeks old at least. I would imagine they're from around the same time that I was in here before. So, I was going to cut this recording, but I might as well walk around a little. You can see all this broken stuff free and laying all over in here. But the ground is relatively clean because as they're in here messing around, they pick it up and throw it to the side. So they actually clean out and manicure the cells. This is just an area they kick back. All see is 4 to 5 feet off the ground. Everything's broken off from the travel. Alright, we'll shoot another quick segment here. Hopefully you can hear me. We're back in the same area that I ran into the family unit a few weeks ago. And there's all kinds of evidence in here to support they were in here at the same time frame. There's feeding remnants. As you can see, here's a large cow bone. This one's a little bit old. There's a few scattered around in here in these little clear spots or feeding areas. And as I've gone through, I've found a lot of damage and a lot of ground prints and stuff from about the same time period. And you can see all the trees uprooted, broke over, and laid down in here. And there's a lot of damage happens because the young are in here as well. And like you can see where this little pine tree has been tore off at the top, and the piece is still laying here. It went to it, see here, just laying on the ground where they ripped that off. You see a lot of ground debris here that's been taken off the trees, a lot of upper damage. We can look around and find damage from climbing, like this here, where it was a green limb, apparently, and then broke down without actually breaking because it was green at the time. But you can imagine the family in here, the youngsters and everything, and feeding, and the young going up and down these trees, and they do show consistent damage for having travel. You'll see these little limbs broken down. and that extends up into the trees themselves, where they've been going up and down. You'll see a lot of broken large limbs hanging all over through the whole thing. Large trees bent down, hooked over. Then something right here I wanted to note was one of the feeding remnants, another pretty good sized cow bone. And if you note on this end, well, first it was lying like this, and see, there's no canine marks, even on the old bone where they need calcium. They don't touch it. No canine marks from feeding whatsoever. Then you've got this large scoop shape out, and you've got what looks like large teeth scrapes across the bone here. And then the interesting part are these two large bite imprint scrapes here. And you'll see that's no canine. That's it looks like a hominid bite mark. And you can see the size and depth where a couple of the teeth raked up, and you can even see the actual, you can actually see the pattern of the bone damage where a tooth is scraped up. That's just tooth is huge. It's twice the size of ours probably. And so they part out cattle occasionally and come into these areas to feed. And like I say, there's most of the damage we see is about 2.5, 3 weeks old, maybe a month. That's about the time I was in here and actually ran into the family in this area, or in this part of the bosky region. Just trees and brush. And this is a great place for the family, of course, because it's comfortable to walk. You can lay down and sleep anywhere you want. It's more open, and you can get out of here and go there's about a couple of more miles of this thick like this. And this is in behind the front edge, and off to the front edge it's so thick you have to use the little tunnels to get in here. Once you get in, they've opened it up and really just trashed this place, just with occupation. Okay, I'm going to cut this recording. I wasn't able to find any fur or hair on any of this stuff yet. I should say hair. Mainly just because of the age. There's some stranding on it. Actually, there's a strand on the branch here that you can see, but it looks way too coarse for what we're looking for. I could probably go ahead and collect it just in case. Okay, well, that's it for now. I decided to go ahead and shoot another clip because I want to show you what it's like where they hang out a lot. And this is the inside underneath all this. And you'll still see tons of high damage here all over, same thing. Come back over here for a second. I'll show you some of the more recent high breaking that you can see here. And how fresh this is. It's really fresh. This is just, like I say, a couple of weeks. Again, good 5.5, 6 feet off the ground. Same thing, down limbs. An interesting break to note is one like this, where it's on a limb that was going up. And you see there's nothing big enough that needs to knock that out of its way. And I was going through this because I want to get to the back and see where they've been defecating. If it's not out on the water, then it's generally back here in the back, behind these areas. And they might still be in here. I don't think so. I think they moved on up the river. So I think I'm pretty safe here to cruise around. But generally, I go back out behind the area. Like I said, if not out front, they'll defecate back here. You can see all the wood that's been thrown around. Lots of wood thrown around. Let's see if I can actually locate any of their scat here. I haven't been able to locate their defecation spot yet, but they usually all go pretty well together, so you might end up with up to 40 piles or more. There we see some soft marks on the leg. Doesn't have any claws. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and go back in. Where they're at in here. These are kind of little corridors they travel. Often in behind the trees here. But I really don't see any fresh sign anywhere in here. You see again a lot of bent down, broken. You'll notice we got birds, but there's no whistles like the other day when I was in the group. They were whistling a lot. So this is a spot I've been before, and I think they're through here quite a bit. There's no good habitation area. There's a rabbit. So I think I'll eat lunch right here. Okay, I went ahead and started another segment. I sat down there ways beyond those far trees and had a snack. And I was back beyond here against the dirt bank on the other side of these trees. It runs along this whole deal, and I was looking for scat from the group. I couldn't figure out exactly where they had been defecating, and I guess since I hadn't found any on the river front by the water, I had guessed that they were doing it behind one of the groups of trees, as they usually do in a clearing. They'll usually do it together. And after some considerable searching, I was finally able to locate some, as you can see right here. This is what we look for. And if there's no hominid activity or suspected hominid activity through other evidence, then you don't find any of this particular type of scat. This is pretty large, being dehydrated. It's probably 50% the size it was. It's about 1.25 inches in diameter. But you can see here, it's again comprised primarily of Russian olive fruit, but it looks like some fur and meat protein remnant, grasses, and a seed head looks like areas, and other forms of seeds here. So whatever this is collects seeds and eats animals as well. And we've got acorns. Now, this is really interesting because there's absolutely absolutely zero oak in these river bottoms. They don't exist. So the closest acorns to this location is Ortiz Mountain, which is part of this area's retreat. They go back and forth. The young males go back and forth with the big males up and down to Ortiz Mountain and back. But finding acorns at the GLST, where there's not an acorn within several miles of here, that would be the closest mountain. And finding these is really interesting, actually, in this scat. There's a myriad array of seeds, as we can see here. The SCAT's broken down some, so it's not too surprising. I'm not sure what these little seeds are here. What we can see in the SCAT, there's also grass, and the grass is the areas where the seed heads are, and you can see the small fibers from the seed head area in the grass particles there. And then of course Russian olive, a little bit of hair, and mainly on the outside, and then of course it's covered with this shroud of this material that, covered the shroud of this material that would generally be from consumption of meat protein. It's not a canine SCAT. You can see it. It's pretty large compared to my hand as you actually look at it here. Pieces are quite large. But this is what we're looking for anyway. I probably won't collect a sample of this other than to maybe a couple of these acorns. And we'll see here that we have a little sample kit here. We usually use these cups. And we'll do this way. We don't contact them. Just in case I'm having to hold the phone in and do this. So I'm trying not to contact them, so just in case there's going to be any DNA work done on them. So we'll use the old chopstick technique here. Oops, sorry about the phone moving all over. Okay. So we'll just use something organic and sterile, so you can see I'm not touching them here. Let me get back on. And we'll just pick up a couple of those, set them in there, and that might help us get an ID of. And grab some of the piece too. That'll go ahead and help us get an ID of where those acorns originated. That could be tested out to find out exactly where they've come from. I'm sure there's methods of doing that. Okay. Let me just stuff those back in my pouch for next time. As you can see in here, there's tweezers that are kept with the sterile. I sterilize them and then I put heat shrink tubing over them. So if I do need to use them, they're going to be definitely sterile. And always a notepad for information, plastic bag.